So last video, I crashed out after the embarrassing loss to the Detroit Pistons. Now, rightfully so. I don't regret it. I don't feel bad about it because that was a horrible loss. And today, the Heat are about to lose again to the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's still 5 seconds left, but for some reason, the last 30 seconds of this game have taken 20 minutes. I don't know why, but I'm tired of waiting. So I'm not going to come here on this post game and be super sad or negative, because what's happening is exactly what we knew would happen, which is this season for the Miami Heat will be a roller coaster. They're going to have their ups and they're going to have their downs. And although the Heat were coming off a 4-game win streak where they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, and there was a lot of people saying, "We so back," we all kind of knew that at some point it was going to unravel, which is what we're seeing right now, sort of to the highest degree. Now, I do want to admit I was one of those Heat fans yelling "we back" after that win versus the Cavaliers. But deep down, I knew things were about to go bad, and we're there now. We're at the bad, as not only did the Heat lose in embarrassing fashion to the Detroit Pistons last game, not only did they lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder today, who are on the second night of a back-to-back and have been on the road for like 2 weeks straight now because they were in that dumb NBA Cup, but you also lost Jimmy Butler to a sprained ankle in the first quarter. And the reason I say it like that in the mysterious Vsauce fashion of, was it really a sprained ankle? It's because we don't know. Something really weird happened in that first quarter where 7 minutes in, Jimmy kind of got tangled up with Lou Dort. Lou Dort kind of kicked Jimmy's ankle, like unintentionally. They just got kind of tangled up. And very clearly, Jimmy Butler twisted his ankle. Now, first off, I love Lou Dort, by the way. So no hate to Lou Dort in this video, of course, because one, that boy he's a great player. He kind of killed the Heat from 3 today, which is crazy because he's an elite defender. The boy is absolutely jacked. And he has one of the best nicknames in the entire NBA, which is the Dorture Chamber, which is just so fitting. So I love the nickname. I love Lou Dort. So no shade to him, but he did kind of kick Jimmy's ankle. And then we saw Jimmy go to the locker room. And then it was a few minutes later where we got the report from the Miami Heat saying that Jimmy Butler was out for the rest of the game with an illness. So there was some speculating on Twitter, some people coming up with some theories as to what that could mean. Random player randomly out with an illness in the middle of a game. Does that mean that he's traded? Well, sometimes it does, because that has happened before. But I don't think that was the case with Jimmy today, although I will admit it was weird for him to be listed out with illness after clearly hurting his ankle. I think that maybe he was he maybe wasn't feeling so great before the game, but decided to give it a go. And then once his ankle kind of got turned up, they said, hey, you know what? You might as well just sit out the rest of tonight, especially when you do have a game tomorrow versus the Orlando Magic. Now, as far as this particular game, there was not a lot of greats. Almost everyone on the Heat roster, I feel like, played not so well, outside, of course, Tyler Herro, the boy All-Star, boy wonder. Make sure y'all go vote for the guy, because All-Star voting actually opened yesterday. So go vote for Tyler Herro, because he has been an All-Star all season, and that has continued tonight. And outside of him, Drew Smith played well, but that's what he does. He's Drew Smith. He hoops. It still sounds weird praising Drew Smith, but I'll continue to do it, because, by the way, I also did vote for Drew Smith to be an all-star as part of my repentance of all the slander I gave him in previous seasons. But anyways, outside of those two and a little bit of Nikola Jovic burst in the first quarter or first half, everyone else wasn't great. Because, as far as this game, the Heat had a relatively good first half. They were only down 3 points. You had Nikola Jovic come in. He really did give them a spark. Had like an and one, another tough driving lay. He hit a tough corner 3. So it was nice to see him get back. Now, I will say one of the most frustrating things as a Heat fan is this carousel of injuries, because as soon as you get Jovic back from a sprained ankle, you lose Jimmy Butler to a sprained ankle. How does this carousel of injuries keep happening to the Heat every single year? I don't get it. You would think by the law of averages, at some point they could just get a healthy season. But no, I guess that's too much to ask for. I can't explain why. But anyways, Jovic was pretty good in that first half. The Heat were only down by 3. But then in that third quarter, you had Bam Adebayo also go out for a little bit of time, as he needed to get 8 stitches because he received a elbow to the head from Jaime Jaquez Jr. Now, Jaime Jaquez well, how do I say this? Because y'all know Jaime is my boy. We got the cute Jaime Hawkins nickname. We got the signed picture of Jaime right back here. Y'all know I got a foot fetish for the footwork. But Jaime has been terrible. I'm sorry, Jaime. If I'm going to call myself a realist and tell it how it is, say it how I see it, that's how I saw it tonight. Because Jaime Jaquez was awful tonight. Now, we'll kind of get into these box scores a little bit more, and I'll talk about Jaime a little bit later then. But it was disappointing because the Heat were going on a little bit of a run in that third quarter, even without Bam Adebayo. You had Tyler Herro playing his ass off, was getting to the paint time and time again. You had him dime Haywood Highsmith for a three, then had a beautiful dime to Drew Smith in the corner for the lead. Back-to-back threes for Miami. That was enough to finally give them the lead in that third quarter. But of course, OKC would battle back. The Heat would keep it close, but in that fourth quarter, man, things were bad with that late game execution. Some of that was from Jaime Jaquez. He missed a clutch free throw late. He had a terrible travel late. You also had a missed free throw from Bam. And just overall, I don't want to signal anyone out with the late game execution because it was just bad in general. Like it's been bad all season for a couple seasons, which is really disappointing because I can't understand why this Heat's late game execution is so terrible. Although you have a coach like Erik Spoelstra who should be able to get them to run some sets in these crucial possessions. Because there was one late in the game in particular where it was like a 6-point game. You needed a three. There's still like a minute to go. And it results in a Duncan Robinson heavily contested three. Meanwhile, on the other end of the court, you had OKC with ball movement. Shea at the top of the key. He found Hartenstein inside, who kicked it out to Jalen Williams at the three-point line, who cashed it. Great ball movement, got a wide open three. And that was pretty much the dagger for OKC. Now, I know Duncan did get a big three late a little bit after that might have made things interesting, and he was wide open. So I guess the Heat did get a good look there, just to be fair to Spoelstra. But at that point, I think there was only like 10 seconds left. So the game was still kind of out of reach at that point. But basically, that was just one example of the Heat's bad offensive execution in the fourth quarter. And it's just disappointing because you had that young OKC team absolutely tear you apart. And yes, I understand that it's not just coaching. A lot of it is personnel. OKC is the best team in the West for a reason. They have very skilled players. They have guys like Shea who can drive and kick. They get that kind of penetration in the paint, which just opens everything out for the shooters. But I also think it's more than that because the Heat don't have bad players. They have Tyler Herro. They have Bam Adebayo. And I just think they should be able to do more in these late game situations than they have been. So I want to go through the box score because there's certainly several things I want to talk about with regards to a few of these players. So yeah, Jimmy Butler only got you 7 minutes tonight. He got you 2 assists. Luckily, the only, now y'all know with the anonymous player prop betting apps, they don't sponsor me. So I usually don't like to say their names. But shout out to Prize Picks because I did have a Jimmy over on there. And because he got injured, they rebooted him. That's something that Prize Picks does that Hard Rock does not. So I'll shout them out this one time. Give me a sponsor, Prize Picks. I'd love to sponsor you. I'm a big fan of your service. Anyway, so Jimmy obviously didn't play a ton. We'll see what happens. I guess he'll test out the ankle. If it is an illness, I'm sure it's something minor. So we'll have to keep an eye on the reports to see if he will play tomorrow versus the Magic. Haywood Highsmith today, three points, 5 rebounds. Thought the defense was fine. Only took 3 shots today. His offense will obviously be a hit or miss. I really don't have a problem with what he did today or just in general this season. But Bam Adebayo, 17 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist. Okay, shot 7 of 11. So if you're looking at the stats tonight, they don't look terrible. I know he's been a really good playmaker of late. He's been averaging like almost 6 assists a game over his last 5. And I know he hasn't always been efficient this season, and he was efficient tonight. But if you watch the game, Bam Adebayo did not pass the eye test. For one, he only took 11 shots. If you want to look at the box score for something else, that's not enough. Especially when you consider that you lost Jimmy Butler, you need to be more aggressive than that. And this is now the second game in a row because we also saw this versus Detroit, where in that first quarter, Bam will take, 2 of the Heat's first 3 shots, 3 of their first 4 shots in some cases, and look real aggressive and think, wow, we're going to get aggressive Bam tonight. And then he completely disappears for the rest of the game. Now, I know there's a lot that goes into that where he's asked to do so much, especially defensively, especially tonight when he's playing a guy like Hartenstein, who is one of those more athletic, big, physical centers. So I understand it's very difficult, but you are getting paid the max money for a reason, Bam. I need more than that. And you could make a strong argument that Bam Adebayo got outplayed by Isaiah Hartenstein tonight. And if you can make an argument for that, then that means that you didn't get enough from Bam Adebayo. Because tonight, Hartenstein got you 13 points, so only 4 less points than Bam on 5 less shots, mind you. But Hartenstein had 18 rebounds. There were so many possessions in this game where Hartenstein just gave the Thunder extra possession after extra possession, and a lot of those was in that fourth quarter where the Heat would actually get a stop. Now, I do want to say, or when the Heat got a stop and Hartenstein will get the offensive rebound. I want to see how many offensive rebounds he had today. He had 5 offensive rebounds. That's 5 extra possessions off of him alone that OKC got in a game that only ended up being a 7-point game. That is game-changing stuff. And a lot of times, Bam was just getting ragdolled out there. There was a play earlier where I feel like Bam got pushed or kind of grabbed to the ground and they didn't call it. Could have been a foul on Hartenstein, but that play resulted in a 3 for the Thunder. There was a play late in this game where Jalen Williams was cooking us all game. So they say, hey, we got this guy Bam Adebayo, best defender in the league. Maybe you heard of him. They finally put Bam on Jalen Williams, and I'm thinking, great, you might finally get a stop. But what does that leave? That left Jaime Jaquez having to box out Isaiah Hartenstein. So even if you got to stop, I knew the Heat weren't going to get a rebound. And sure enough, Bam forces the stop on Jalen Williams. Hartenstein climbs right over the back of Jaime Jaquez, tips it to Alex Caruso. They get the ball back, and that was also essentially your ball game. So I can't understand for the life of me why we don't get some more size on the court with Bam Adebayo in these late game possessions. I've been calling for Khalil Ware for a while now, just like the rest of y'all. I know that's just not a me thing. And I'm not saying for Spo to put Khalil Ware out in the middle of the game, or like the last possession of the game, like in this specific play that I'm talking about. But throughout the game, Hartenstein was killing you. You need some more size out there. And to be honest, I actually kind of forget if Khalil Ware is with the team right now or if he's in the G League. It shows him on the box score, so I think he was there tonight. I forget if I saw... No, he was there tonight because I saw the video of him practicing with Bam just yesterday. So Khalil Ware was there, and I think he was dressed. But either way, we shouldn't even be talking about whether Khalil Ware's in the G League or whether he's dressed. He should be playing. And I understand that outside of that, you don't really have any other size. You don't have any physical size, really, because Khalil Ware is not super physical. He still is a little skinny, but he can get rebounds. He can block shots in the paint, and that's what you needed tonight. But outside of him, they tried Nikola Jovic. He's still kind of soft, obviously. He's not known as a bruiser. You have Kevin Love, who's really too old to play consistently at this point. He's a good rebounder, but not a good defender, and he's 6'8". He's not a center. So all of this talk really goes back to roster construction, which is stuff we talked about in the offseason. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, essentially, by keep saying, why doesn't this team have more size? But it's a problem, man. It really is a problem, and it sucks, because I would have loved to see Bam Adebayo and Jalen Williams more throughout the game. But you would have to have another center out there with them. And you got Khalil Ware. That's all they got right now with regards to size. I would have did it, Spo. I would have did it. But anyways, regardless of that, that was just a couple reasons why not all of those Hartenstein, daggers was Bam's fault, but a lot of them were. Bam did not do enough today, and that's just the facts of the matter. Was missing layups, also missed a clutch free throw late in the fourth quarter that could have made it a 3 or 4 point game. It's just not good enough, Bam. It's not good enough. I haven't seen the aggression that you need to see without Jimmy. Anyways, we'll get through the rest of these guys pretty quick here. Tyler Herro, 28 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 11 of 24. He was 3 of 10 from 3, so not great there. But regardless, the stat line speaks for himself. Tyler Herro absolutely stepped up when Jimmy Butler was out of the game. He was not only scoring, but he was playmaking and rebounding at a pretty great level. And this was good to see because although he didn't shoot super well today, 45% from the field, 30% from 3, I still feel like he made a huge impact, which is not something you could have said about Tyler Herro in years past, but it is something that we've said this season. So he's continued to do it. He didn't shoot great versus Detroit either, so I was hoping to get a little bit of a bounce back tonight. You didn't get it, so maybe it does come tomorrow because I feel like it's been a few games since you really got like a Tyler Herro 6 or 7 3-point game, which we were so accustomed to earlier this year. We were so spoiled. Now, I know you can't expect that every night, but I do think Tyler Herro is good enough that he'll have another one of those really soon. And it might be tomorrow versus Orlando, which would be tough. I'll be proud of Tyler if he does that tomorrow because he does typically struggle versus athletic size, which the Pistons have a lot of. The Thunder, of course, have a lot of. But the Magic do too. They have one of the best like point of attack defensive rotations in the league. Jalen Suggs is an absolute dog. He twisted his ankle yesterday, but he is probable for tomorrow. And obviously they got those guys inside like Jonathan Isaac, who honestly I forget if he's playing now either. But they got some good defenders on that team, and their team numbers will show that as well. So if Tyler Herro can show up tomorrow, that'll be a good sign too. But we'll talk about that in tomorrow's video, if there is one. Actually, I'm going out. There's like a Christmas bar crawl thing tomorrow that I've already committed to, so I guess I gotta go. I didn't realize the Heat played when I committed to that. Otherwise, I might not have. But anyways, Kevin Love today played only 3 minutes. I don't even recall those 3 minutes. Drew Smith was awesome today. Listen, 13 points for Drew Smith, man. 3 of 4 from the 3-point line. He's on a tear shooting the ball this season. You know what you're getting defensively. At this time, he always makes some like spectacular defensive play or a handful of them. And today, it was tying up Isaiah Hartenstein. Like Hartenstein got a rebound, put it at his hip for a second, and Drew Smith swooped in to force the jump ball. Obviously, he didn't, win the jump ball, but he still stopped that possession. He's awesome. Moving on. Terry, where do I want to start here? Because you get me going about Terry Rozier. This video might be 35 minutes, which is not what I want to do. But Terry Rozier today, 7 points, shot 3 of 10. Last video, I was very harsh to him. And if you want to know my thoughts on Terry after this game, just rewatch the last video because I feel the exact same. He was terrible. He is getting paid a lot of money. You gave up quite a bit of assets to get him because you gave up a first-round pick when you barely had any. And he's been terrible. And if he was ever going to step up, it would be tonight when you lost Jimmy Butler, and he didn't do it. So, yeah, he sucks. I made a video a few weeks ago saying I believe Terry Rozier will turn it around. I think he'll bounce back. I'm ready to say I was wrong. So that's the point of the matter. Not a fan of Terry Rozier. I think he sucks. Get him off my team. That's where I stand with regards to him. And who else here? Nikola Jovic had a really good first half. Didn't do as much in the second half, but obviously he's working his way back from that ankle injury. And although he shot 2 of 7 today, he did give them that burst in the first half, which was nice to see. I don't expect too much from Nikola Jovic, so if he can give you a burst or 2 a game, that's good. I think that's really all the Heat need from him because they only played 19 minutes tonight anyway. So I was happy with his performance. And then, outside of that, it's Jaime Jaquez, man. 9 points on 3 of 8 shooting, had 6 boards. So the numbers don't look terrible, but don't get it twisted. He's bad right now. And obviously he's been bad all season. He's in this shooting slump now from 3. He's missed like 3 for his last, is it 30? Something very close to that. 3 for his last 28, something like that, which is insane. Jaime Jaquez is not known as a shooter, but he's not 3 for 28 bad. And that's the kind of stretch that he's on right now. But then even today was in that fourth quarter where he just looked sloppy all over the place, missing a clutch free throw, traveling the ball. It was not good, man. And in the first half, he had a couple buckets, had his nice, up and under footwork move. And I love what I was seeing. But it really didn't continue in the second half. And the reason that I'm more so disappointed today is because kind of what I've been saying all season is obviously Jaime's in a sophomore slump. I'm not going to deny that, but I didn't think it was like a skill thing. Like I don't think he got worse or anything. I just think it was an opportunity thing. A lot of the time that he thrived last year was when Jimmy Butler got hurt. He got consistent run, and he played well. Well, tonight you had no Jimmy Butler. Jaime Jaquez started that second half, and that's when he played worse. So he had the opportunity today. I don't really feel like there was any excuse for the bad performance we saw today, and you got it. So that's a big problem with this Heat team. You were looking at having maybe a halfway decent bench with regards to offense, having Terry Rozier and Jaime Jaquez, and both of those guys, quite frankly, suck this year. So when your bench is that awful, you're going to be a mediocre team, and that's exactly what this Heat team is. But whatever. Hopefully this little slump doesn't last too long. Hopefully Jimmy Butler isn't out for too long either. But we'll see what happens over the course of these next few hours. The Heat do play the Orlando Magic tomorrow. Like I said, might not be able to get you a post-game video, but I'll definitely be watching. So if anything of significance happens, we will be talking about it. Make sure y'all like and subscribe because I'm going to grind to hit 6K subs. All the support is greatly appreciated. I'm going to get out of here.
Pull up in your city trying to get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.